Have you ever felt like your life has been stuck on pause, no matter how hard you tried to move forward? Like every door stayed shut, every plan slowed down, and every blessing seemed to take forever to reach you. Chosen one, that pause just ended. The weight you've been carrying, God just broke it off you. And if you pay close attention, you can already feel it. The air around you is lighter, your spirit feels different, and the delays that once drained you are losing their power. Stay with me because what's happening around you isn't random. It's a sign, a clear signal from heaven. Your waiting season is shifting into movement. Your stillness is turning into momentum. Your prayers are stepping into results. And listen, if messages like this speak to your spirit and help you understand what God is doing in your life, tap that subscribe button so you never miss the guidance meant for you. Because today's message may be the confirmation you've been praying for. Your season of delay. It didn't fade away. It broke, and the evidence is already starting to show. Divine delay is not the same as being stuck, blocked, or forgotten. It's a purposeful pause that God places in the life of someone He's preparing for something bigger than they expected. When a chosen one faces delay, it's often because the path ahead requires a stronger, wiser, and more spiritually aware version of them. God isn't withholding the blessing, He's shaping the person who will carry it. Many times, the delay is a sign that what you're stepping into has weight, influence, or long-lasting impact, and you can't enter it with the same mindset you had before. This kind of delay usually feels different from normal setbacks. It's not just a missed opportunity or slow progress. It's a season where nothing seems to move, even though you're doing everything right. You may feel like you're standing in the hallway while doors refuse to open. But spiritually, this is the moment when God is rearranging people, timing, and circumstances so that when the door does open, it opens at the exact moment you're meant to walk through it. Think of it as a pause that aligns your life with the perfect timing you couldn't create by yourself. Another part of divine delay is protection. Sometimes you're ready, but what's on the other side is. God knows what conversations are happening behind the scenes, who has the right intentions, and which situations are not yet safe for your gift or your heart. Delaying you may keep you from walking straight into something that would drain you, confuse you, or pull you off your purpose. What looks like nothing happening is often God blocking what would have harmed you before you could see the danger. Understanding divine delay changes the way you look at your waiting seasons. Instead of feeling punished, you start to see the preparation. Instead of feeling behind, you begin noticing how God was arranging everything with precision. And when the delay ends, like it has now, you realize that you're stepping into the blessing as a stronger version of yourself, fully ready to carry what's coming. When God allows delay in your life, it's rarely about punishment and almost never about lack. For chosen ones, delay is a sign of intention. God is deliberately slowing things down so the foundation beneath you becomes unshakable. Your calling carries weight, and rushing into the next season unprepared could cause you to break under pressure. So instead of allowing you to move too fast, God stretches the timeline to strengthen your character, sharpen your spirit, and build the emotional maturity needed for the responsibility that's coming. Delay also exposes what cannot go with you. When everything around you slows down, people's true intentions become clearer. You start noticing who supports you, who uses you, who drains your energy, and who only appears when life is easy. God lets the delay pull back the curtain so you can see relationships, habits, and mindsets that might have held you back later. Without this slowdown, you might have taken the wrong people or the wrong version of yourself into a place you weren't meant to stay. Another reason God allows delay is to align timing. You might be ready right now, but the situation you're stepping into might not be. The job, opportunity, relationship, or open door may still be developing behind the scenes. Sometimes God isn't just preparing you, He's preparing the place, the moment, and the people you're meant to impact. When both sides are ready at the same time, the blessing lands smoothly instead of chaotically. For chosen ones, delay often marks a season where God is increasing spiritual strength. You might notice that during these moments, your intuition grows sharper, your awareness increases, and your ability to discern right from wrong becomes stronger. This isn't a coincidence, it's a form of training. God is shaping you into someone who can recognize what is from Him and what is not, so when the blessing arrives, you won't mistake it for a distraction. Understanding this makes delay easier to carry. It shifts the frustration into focus. You begin to realize that every slow moment had a purpose and that God was working in places you couldn't see. When He finally says the delay is over, it's because you're stepping into something that requires the new strength you gained while waiting. One of the most overlooked reasons God delays certain things in your life is protection, not the obvious kind, the hidden kind. There are situations, people, and opportunities that look perfectly harmless on the surface, but would have created chaos, drained your peace, or completely derailed your purpose. During your waiting season, God wasn't just slowing you down. He was shielding you from doors that looked right but weren't built for you. Sometimes the danger isn't a person, it's a timing issue. A job offered too early could have buried your confidence. A relationship started at the wrong moment could have distracted you from your calling. Even a blessing received too soon can turn into a burden when you're not yet emotionally or spiritually stable enough to carry it. God sees the future impact long before you do, so He holds you back until the environment is safe enough for your growth. Delay also exposes hidden motives. There are people who smile in your face but would only attach themselves to your blessing, not your journey. If something had moved faster, you might have trusted the wrong voice, partnered with the wrong person, or shared your dreams with someone who wasn't for you. God used delay to reveal who was genuine and who was only pretending to care. Another form of protection comes from the spiritual realm. Some attacks only activate when you enter a specific position or opportunity. God knew that if He allowed you to step into that space too early, you wouldn't have the spiritual strength or awareness to handle the pressure. By delaying you, He gave you time to grow, heal, and learn how to recognize threats before they reach you. When you look back, you'll notice that certain disappointments actually saved you. The friendship that ended protected your peace. The job you didn't get saved your purpose. The opportunity that fell through prevented you from attaching to something that wasn't designed to carry you into the next phase of your destiny. God wasn't ignoring you. He was guarding you. And now that the danger has passed, your movement can begin. When a season of delay breaks, your emotions are often the first part of you that notices the shift. Even before your circumstances change, your spirit begins to calm down in a way that doesn't match what you see with your eyes. You might wake up feeling lighter, even if nothing big has happened yet. That sudden lift isn't random, it's a sign that the pressure holding you back has been removed. One of the strongest emotional indicators is the release of frustration. During delay, you might have felt easily irritated, restless, or overwhelmed because your spirit sensed movement that your life didn't yet show. But when the delay ends, that emotional heaviness fades. You feel more balanced, more patient, and less affected by things that once triggered you. It's as if your heart finally catches its breath. Another emotional shift is unexpected clarity. You start seeing your situation differently. Confusion begins to settle, and thoughts that once felt tangled become simple. Instead of feeling stuck, you feel guided, like your steps are being arranged with purpose. You no longer feel the urge to force outcomes because something inside you knows things are finally lining up the way they should. You may also notice a calm confidence rising in you even before any blessing shows up. This confidence doesn't come from achievements or validation. It comes from an inner knowing that you're entering a new season. Worries that used to follow you start losing their influence. Doubts that once drained you begin to fade. You stop expecting delays and start expecting breakthroughs. Emotional peace is one of God's clearest signals. It's not loud or dramatic, it's steady. When your delay ends, that peace settles into your spirit like a quiet announcement from heaven. The waiting is over. Keep moving. When God breaks a delay off your life, your spirit picks it up before anything shows physically. One of the most common signs is a sudden increase in meaningful synchronicities, especially repeating numbers like 1111, 222, 444, or sequences that appear right when you're thinking about change. These moments aren't coincidences. They're confirmation that the spiritual realm is shifting and your path is beginning to open. Another sign is the change in your dreams. During delay, your dreams may have been confusing, chaotic, or hard to understand. But when the delay ends, your dreams often become clearer, more symbolic, or even peaceful. You may see images of walking forward, open doors, light, travel, or elevation. These dreams reflect movement happening in your spiritual life before it becomes visible. You might also experience a stronger internal pull, almost like your intuition is speaking louder. You begin sensing this is the right direction or this season is different. It's not anxiety, it's guidance. Your spirit becomes more alert, more aware, and more sensitive to God's nudges. Another spiritual indicator is that old temptations or distractions suddenly lose their power. Things that used to pull you backward no longer feel appealing. You're less interested in drama, negativity, or people who drain your energy. This happens because your spirit recognizes that it's stepping into a higher level and can't afford to carry old weight into a new season. You may also notice more moments of alignment, small signs happening at the perfect time, opportunities appearing effortlessly, or answers coming quicker than before. These alignments show that the delay has lifted and you're now walking in the flow God prepared for you. When all these spiritual signs show up together, it's confirmation. Heaven has shifted your timeline, your delay is over. When a delay breaks, there is a moment, a real spiritual moment, where your name is released in the heavenly realm. This isn't symbolic, it's a shift where God signals, move them forward now. And even though you can't see it with your physical eyes, your spirit feels the change instantly. One of the ways this shows up is through a sudden inner certainty. It's not loud or emotional. It's a quiet knowing that your life is about to move in a new direction. You may feel as if something has been lifted off your shoulders, even if you can't explain why. That feeling is the result of spiritual resistance losing its grip on your progress. Another sign is that opportunities begin to form around you in ways they didn't before. People who never noticed you suddenly reach out. Doors that once required endless effort start opening with little push. Conversations come at the right time. Even delays that used to frustrate you suddenly clear with no explanation. These moments happen because once your name is released, everything attached to your destiny receives the same signal. You may also feel a shift in the atmosphere around you. Things feel lighter, calmer, or more aligned. It's not dramatic, it's subtle but powerful. You catch yourself smiling for no reason or feeling unusually hopeful. That's because heaven has assigned movement to your path, and your spirit senses what your mind hasn't fully caught up to yet. When God releases your name, helpers are positioned, paths straighten, and timing begins working in your favor. What was once blocked becomes reachable. What seemed impossible becomes achievable. It's not luck, it's timing finally responding to you. And once heaven releases your name, nothing on earth can hold you back. Right before your delay ends, the spiritual warfare around you often becomes more intense. This isn't a sign that something is going wrong, it's evidence that something is about to go right. When you are close to a breakthrough, the pressure rises because the resistance that once held you back is losing control. The enemy rarely fights someone who isn't moving forward. The battle increases because your elevation is near. One of the clearest signs of this warfare is sudden emotional heaviness. You may feel tired, irritated, or overwhelmed out of nowhere. This isn't weakness, it's a spiritual pushback against the shift happening in your favor. The closer you get to the end of the delay, the more the old season tries to grip you one last time. But this pressure is temporary, and it often shows up right before major acceleration. You may also face unexpected conflicts or misunderstandings with people. This happens because spiritual resistance looks for any opening to distract you, drain you, or pull you off your focus. It tries to attach chaos to your life so you don't notice the victory forming behind the scenes. But when you recognize this pattern, you stop taking the attacks personally and start seeing them as confirmation that your delay is collapsing. Another sign of heightened warfare is mental noise, negative thoughts, doubts, or fears that appear suddenly. These thoughts don't come from your spirit. They come from the pressure of the old season trying to keep you in a place you've already outgrown. The moment you feel stronger than the struggle tries to speak louder. It's a last attempt to hold you in the familiar. The good news is that increased warfare is never the final chapter. It's the final push. It's the storm right before the open sky, and once you push through that resistance, you step into movement, clarity, and opportunities that flow with ease. When warfare rises, it's not a setback, it's a signal. It means the delay is breaking, and your breakthrough is moments away. When God isolates a chosen one, it's rarely comfortable, but it is always intentional. Isolation isn't meant to punish you, it's meant to separate you from noise, distractions, and influences that would interfere with your growth. During your waiting season, you may have found yourself losing connections, stepping back from certain people, or feeling like no one truly understood you. That wasn't rejection, that was preparation. In isolation, God removes voices that would have shaped you incorrectly. When you're surrounded by loud opinions, jealousy, or negativity, it's hard to hear God clearly. So he quiets your environment, even if you don't realize that's what's happening. This silence sharpens your discernment. You begin to notice what feels right, what drains your spirit, and what aligns with the person you are becoming. Isolation also reveals your strength. When you spend extended time alone, you learn how capable you truly are. You solve problems, think independently, and find confidence in your own decisions. This independence becomes crucial when God moves you into new levels where not everyone can guide you or walk with you. In many ways, isolation trains you for elevation. Another important part of isolation is emotional healing. Old wounds, insecurities, and patterns often rise to the surface when everything becomes quiet. This can feel uncomfortable, but it's God's way of clearing out the emotional weight that would have slowed you down in your next season. Healing rarely happens in crowds, it happens in stillness. And while isolation feels lonely, it connects you more deeply with your purpose. You start recognizing your calling, your passions, and the direction God wants you to move in. Instead of being pulled by people, you are led from within. What felt like separation was actually development. And now that your delay is broken, the strength you gained in isolation will support every step you take moving forward. Divine timing is one of the most powerful forces behind every breakthrough in a chosen one's life. It's the reason some opportunities appear suddenly while others take months or even years to unfold. When timing isn't right, even a blessing can feel like a burden. But when God aligns the moment, the situation, and your spirit together, what once felt impossible becomes effortless. One of the biggest misunderstandings people face is believing that delayed timing means forgotten promises, but divine timing works differently. God waits for the moment when the path ahead is clear, the right people are positioned, and your heart is ready to handle the responsibility attached to the blessing. If any one of those pieces is missing, the breakthrough wouldn't serve its full purpose. Timing is God's way of making sure the blessing arrives in a way that lifts you, not overwhelms you. Divine timing also prevents you from entering seasons too early. You may have wanted certain doors to open sooner, but stepping into them prematurely could have caused unnecessary stress or confusion. Timing protects your peace. It ensures that when the door opens, you step through it with confidence instead of fear, clarity instead of hesitation, and maturity instead of desperation. Another part of divine timing is alignment. Sometimes, God isn't just preparing you, He's arranging circumstances around you, people you need to meet, opportunities that need to be created, and pathways that need clearing are all being shaped in the background. When everything clicks into place, it feels almost supernatural how smoothly things unfold. That's the beauty of God's timing. It removes struggle and replaces it with flow. Most importantly, divine timing teaches patience and trust. While you were waiting, God was strengthening your character and sharpening your discernment. Now that your delay has ended, you'll notice how every lesson, every setback, and every quiet moment plays a role in the breakthrough you're stepping into. When God's timing arrives, things shift quickly. Not because you pushed harder, but because the season finally matched your preparation. During your waiting season, God wasn't just holding things back. He was building qualities within you that your next chapter requires. These qualities don't develop in easy seasons. They grow in stillness, pressure, and moments where you're forced to rely on inner strength instead of outward progress. One of the first things God builds in delay is emotional stability. When life slows down, you're confronted with your own thoughts, fears, reactions, and insecurities. Over time, you learn how to manage your emotions instead of letting them control you. This stability becomes a shield in the future, especially when you face responsibility, criticism, or unexpected challenges. What once overwhelmed you no longer has the same power. God also develops spiritual maturity. In quieter seasons, your discernment sharpens because you're not distracted by constant movement. You begin recognizing what is from God, what is from your own desires, and what is simply noise. This clarity helps you avoid mistakes that would have cost you time, energy, and peace in your next level. Another important area God strengthens is your sense of identity. Delay strips away external validation. Without results to prove yourself, you're forced to discover who you truly are, not as people see you, but as God designed you. This deep understanding of self becomes unshakable. You become harder to manipulate, harder to discourage, and harder to pull off your path. God also builds resilience in these slow seasons. When you keep moving forward despite setbacks, your confidence grows. You learn how to stand firm when life feels uncertain. This resilience becomes crucial later because new blessings come with new responsibilities, and you'll need a strong inner foundation to carry them. Most importantly, God builds trust. When you've walked through a season where nothing seemed to move, yet you still found strength to keep going, you develop a deeper relationship with Him. You learn that progress isn't always visible and that God works even when life feels quiet. That trust becomes the anchor for everything you're about to step into. Your delay wasn't wasted time. It was construction time, and now you're stepping into your new season stronger than ever. One of the most surprising signs of a God-orchestrated delay is the sudden shift in your relationships. People you once trusted may drift away, friendships may weaken, and connections that felt permanent may quietly dissolve. At first, this can feel painful and confusing, but over time you realize it was necessary. When God prepares you for a higher season, He doesn't just elevate your life, He also adjusts your circle. During your delay, God removed relationships that couldn't support the version of you He was building. Some people were tied to your old patterns, your old struggles, or your old way of thinking. Keeping them around would have held you in cycles you were meant to break. Instead of allowing you to drag old energy into a new season, God created separation to protect your growth. Another reason certain relationships faded is misalignment. You may have noticed that conversations felt different, priorities no longer matched, or the connection felt forced. These shifts weren't accidents, they were signals that your paths were moving in opposite directions. God allows these slow disconnections so you don't become emotionally attached to people who can't go where you're going next. Some people were removed because their presence would have influenced your decisions in the wrong direction. God sees what you cannot. He knows who secretly envies you, who misunderstands your calling, and who would have discouraged your progress if they stayed too close. The removal wasn't rejection, it was protection from future disruption. Lastly, God clears relational space before bringing new, purpose-aligned people into your life. When your delay season ends, you often meet mentors, supportive friends, or connections who appreciate your growth and respect your journey. These new relationships match the level you're rising into, not the level you left behind. What felt like loss was actually alignment. God didn't take anyone you needed for your next chapter. During your delay, certain habits and patterns quietly faded from your life, not by accident, but by divine intention. When God prepares a chosen one for elevation, He doesn't just open new doors. He removes old behaviors that would have held you back. You may not have realized it at the time, but your quiet season was actually a season of internal cleansing. One of the first habits that tends to fade is the need for constant distraction. In your earlier seasons, you may have used noise, entertainment, or people to fill emotional gaps, but during your delay, those things stopped satisfying you. You became more comfortable with silence, reflection, and your own company. This shift was necessary so you could hear your own intuition more clearly. Another habit that died during this time was the urge to rush. Before, you might have forced outcomes, pushed yourself into situations, or made decisions out of impatience. But the delay slowed your spirit. It taught you to observe instead of react, and to choose with intention instead of pressure. That patience is now one of your greatest strengths. You may also notice that unhealthy patterns like overthinking or seeking approval began to fade. When life became still, you were confronted with your own thoughts in a new way. You learned how to guide your mind instead of letting it run wild. You started trusting your own judgment instead of leaning on outside validation. This mental maturity is exactly what your next season requires. Certain emotional habits died too, saying yes when you wanted to say no, giving too much of yourself, or prioritizing others at the cost of your peace. During your quiet season, you became more protective of your energy and more honest about your boundaries. That transformation didn't happen suddenly. It happened through weeks and months of learning what drains you and what nourishes you. And there's one more habit that died: tolerating what doesn't align with your purpose. The delay made you more aware of what feels right and what doesn't. You stopped forcing connections, stopped settling for less, and stopped ignoring the discomfort that once warned you about the wrong situations. These habits didn't disappear by accident. God was shaping you. Your character changed before your season changed, and that's why you're ready now in a way you weren't before. When a chosen one comes out of a delay, they don't just come out with more patience, they come out with authority. Not the kind that comes from titles or positions, but the kind that's felt in your presence, your voice, and your choices. This authority is something God builds quietly. You don't notice it forming day by day, but when your season shifts, you start realizing you respond to life differently. One of the first signs of this new authority is the confidence you carry without forcing it. You're no longer shaken by the things that used to intimidate you. Problems that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. You speak with more clarity, you make decisions with more certainty, and you don't allow fear to dictate your direction. This isn't arrogance, it's strength earned through the battles you've already survived. Spiritual authority also shows up in your boundaries. You don't tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or low vibrational energy the way you once did. People feel the shift even if you don't announce it. You carry a quiet firmness that says, "I know who I am now." This is a direct result of the inner work God did in you during your delay. Another sign of your authority is heightened discernment. You sense people's intentions faster. You pick up on energy changes quicker. You recognize spiritual danger before it reaches you. This awareness protects you from stepping into situations that aren't aligned with where God is taking you. And perhaps the most important sign, you influence environments without trying. Your calmness brings peace. Your presence brings clarity. Your words carry weight because they're backed by wisdom, not theory. The authority you carry isn't loud, it's felt. It's the kind that makes the enemy nervous and makes blessings seek you instead of you chasing them. This authority didn't appear out of nowhere. It's the result of everything God built in you while life was quiet. Now that the delay is broken, this authority is going to open doors you once thought were closed. When your delay breaks, one of the biggest shifts you'll notice is how sensitive you've become to the energy around you. This heightened awareness isn't random, it's a sign that your spirit has leveled up. During your quiet season, you learned how to hear your inner voice more clearly, and now that sensitivity allows you to recognize what supports your growth and what pulls you away from it. One of the clearest signs of this increased sensitivity is how quickly you pick up on people's intentions. You may walk into a room and instantly sense whether the atmosphere feels peaceful, tense, or draining. You can meet someone and feel an immediate pull toward them or a quiet warning to stay guarded. This isn't overthinking, it's discernment. Your spirit is no longer willing to ignore signals it once brushed aside. You might also notice that certain environments affect you more than before. Loud, chaotic, or negative spaces feel heavier now. Conversations based on gossip, drama, or fear drain your energy faster. On the flip side, peaceful environments feel more nourishing, and meaningful conversations feel more valuable. This shift shows that your spirit is choosing alignment over attachment. Another part of this sensitivity is your emotional awareness. You can feel when something is off, even if you can't explain it. You sense shifts in your own mood more quickly and understand what triggers you, what calms you, and what throws you out of balance. This emotional intelligence helps you navigate your next season with wisdom instead of reaction. You may also find that your intuition speaks to you in stronger ways, through small nudges, gut feelings, or subtle inner signals. The delay season trained you to listen, and now your inner guidance responds faster than ever. This heightened sensitivity keeps you away from wrong decisions and gently pushes you toward opportunities aligned with your purpose. This increased spiritual awareness is not a weakness, it's one of your greatest strengths. It protects your peace, guides your choices, and keeps your path clear as you step into the acceleration God has prepared for you. When your season of delay ends, new opportunities begin appearing around you not through force, but through flow. These opportunities won't feel heavy, complicated, or confusing. Instead, they show up with a sense of alignment that's hard to ignore. One of the first ways to recognize a divine opportunity is by the peace it brings. Even if it requires courage or change, something inside you feels calm about moving forward. Peace is often the confirmation your spirit gives before your mind catches up. Another way divine opportunities reveal themselves is through perfect timing. You might receive a message, invitation, or idea right when you've been praying for direction. These moments don't feel random, they feel intentional. When God opens a door, it's often surrounded by synchronicities, clarity, and support. Things fall into place naturally without you having to chase, beg, or force anything. Divine opportunities also bring growth. They don't keep you in cycles you've already outgrown. Instead, they stretch you in healthy ways. They challenge you, but they don't drain you. They require effort, but not struggle. When an opportunity is from God, it expands your life instead of shrinking your spirit. Another key sign is alignment with your identity. A divine opportunity connects with who you're becoming, not who you used to be. It aligns with your values, your calling, and your inner direction. It pushes you forward without pulling you away from your authenticity. You feel more yourself, not less. You'll also notice support around divine opportunities. People show up at the right time. Resources appear unexpectedly. Answers come quicker. Doors that once stayed shut open easily. These moments show you that God is not just giving you the opportunity, He's getting you through it. The final sign is simple. Divine opportunities don't confuse your spirit. Your mind may have questions, but your spirit has clarity. As long as your heart feels aligned and your steps feel guided, you'll know the opportunity is part of the season God has prepared for you. When a delay breaks and you step into a new season, the enemy's first strategy is often to pull you back into old cycles. These cycles may look familiar, comfortable, or harmless, but they're designed to keep you tied to the version of yourself you've outgrown. Recognizing and avoiding these patterns is crucial to protecting your new momentum. One of the most common ways old cycles try to re-enter your life is through familiar people resurfacing. Someone who drained you, confused you, or held you back may suddenly reach out, acting kinder or more supportive than before. This isn't coincidence, it's temptation wrapped in nostalgia. The moment you feel yourself slipping into old emotional habits, pause and ask, does this support the person I'm becoming or the person I used to be? Your clarity will guide you. Old cycles also return through behaviors you thought you left behind. Procrastination, overgiving, overthinking, or settling may try to creep back in when you're tired or uncertain. Instead of judging yourself, use these moments as reminders of how far you've come. Your awareness alone shows you're no longer living on autopilot. Each time you choose differently, you reinforce the new version of you. Another way cycles reappear is through opportunities that look good but feel wrong. Not every open door is a divine door. Some are distractions meant to slow you down. If something requires you to shrink yourself, compromise your peace, or ignore your intuition, it's not from God. In this new season, trust how things feel, not just how they look. Energy is another clue. Anything that leaves you drained, uneasy, or spiritually heavy is a signal. Old cycles thrive on emotional exhaustion. Protecting your energy is one of the strongest ways to break these patterns for good. When you honor your peace, you naturally block what doesn't belong to your future. And finally, the easiest way to avoid old cycles is to stay consistent with the habits you formed during your delay: clarity, boundaries, patience, and self-awareness. These habits act as a filter. They will guide you toward what aligns and away from what distracts. You're not who you used to be. And when you walk with that awareness, old cycles lose their power. When your delay season ends, acceleration begins, and it first shows up in the spiritual realm long before your physical life catches up. Spiritual acceleration isn't about being busy or rushing. It's about movement happening around you with a sense of purpose, direction, and divine support. You start noticing that your spirit feels more awake, more ready, and more aligned than ever before. One of the clearest signs of spiritual acceleration is an increase in clarity. Thoughts that once felt scattered now feel organized. Decisions that used to confuse you suddenly feel obvious. It's as if God removes the fog that once kept you uncertain, and you begin seeing your next steps with surprising confidence. This clarity is a sign that your spirit is ahead of your circumstances, already moving toward what God prepared for you. Another sign is the rapid shift in your inner strength. You feel emotionally stronger, mentally sharper, and spiritually grounded. Things that once triggered or drained you no longer affect you the same way. This isn't a mood swing, it's elevation. Your spirit is stepping into a higher level of maturity because it's preparing you to handle the opportunities coming your way. You may also feel a strong pull toward new habits, environments, or routines. This pull doesn't feel forced, it feels natural. Waking up earlier, taking better care of yourself, setting boundaries, or seeking more peace happens effortlessly. This is spiritual momentum, your soul aligning itself with the future God is leading you into. Another part of acceleration is heightened intuition. Your spirit begins warning you about distractions before they form and guiding you toward blessings before you see them. You sense when to act, when to wait, and when to walk away. This inner guidance becomes clearer and more consistent because your spirit is syncing with divine timing. Finally, you'll feel a new sense of expectancy, not anxiety, but anticipation. You start waking up with the feeling that something good is forming, even if you don't know what it is yet. That expectation is spiritual proof that the delay has broken and movement has begun. Spiritual acceleration always starts quietly, internally, and gradually. Then, suddenly, your physical reality catches up, and everything begins to shift in your favor. When your life begins to accelerate spiritually, your emotions shift right along with it. This emotional acceleration is one of the strongest confirmations that your delay season has ended. It feels like your heart is finally catching up to where your spirit has already moved. You're not just thinking differently, you're feeling differently. One of the first emotional signs is a renewed sense of motivation. Tasks that once felt heavy now feel manageable. You wake up with more energy, more direction, and more excitement about your future. Even if you don't know every detail, there's a steady feeling that you're moving forward instead of standing still. This fresh motivation isn't random, it's your spirit signaling that preparation time is turning into action time. You may also notice that emotional heaviness lifts unexpectedly. Old sadness, fear, or stress loses its grip on you. You don't carry situations the way you once did. Problems that used to overwhelm you now look smaller. Challenges feel less threatening. This isn't avoidance, it's growth. Your emotional capacity has expanded, and you've learned how to hold peace even when life isn't perfect. Another marker of emotional acceleration is increased confidence. You trust your decisions more, you trust your intuition more, and you trust your journey more. You stop second-guessing yourself and start believing in the direction you're heading. You feel more grounded, more stable, and more sure of your worth. That confidence is a sign that your identity has matured. The old insecurity doesn't fit you anymore. You may also feel a strong desire to protect your emotional space. You become more selective about what you allow into your mind and heart. Negative conversations feel draining. Chaos feels too heavy. Drama feels unnecessary. This shift shows that your emotional frequency is rising, and anything that doesn't match that level becomes uncomfortable. Most importantly, emotional acceleration shows up as unexpected hope. You feel lighter, brighter, and more optimistic without forcing anything. It's a gentle assurance that something good is approaching and your heart finally believes it. Emotional acceleration is God preparing your inner world for the blessings coming to your outer world. It's your heart saying, I'm ready now. When your season of delay ends, blessings don't always show up in dramatic, life-changing ways at first. Instead, they begin with small but meaningful shifts, little signs that the atmosphere around you has changed and that favor is starting to move in your direction. These early blessings are often gentle confirmations that God is opening the path ahead. One of the first blessings is unexpected support. Someone might offer help you didn't ask for, give you information you needed, or show up at the perfect moment with encouragement. These aren't random gestures, they're signs that God is positioning the right people around you. When delay breaks, helpers appear without effort because grace begins replacing struggle. Another early blessing is clarity. You start seeing solutions you couldn't see before. Ideas flow more easily, answers come quicker, and confusion begins to fade. This clarity is a blessing because it removes the weight of uncertainty that held you back during your delayed season. You find yourself making decisions with confidence instead of hesitation. You may also notice financial or material improvements, not necessarily huge windfalls, but small, consistent signs of increase. A bill gets paid unexpectedly, a new opportunity to earn appears, or something you needed becomes available at the right time. These early signs show that your resources are beginning to align with your next level. Another powerful blessing that shows up early is emotional ease. Things that used to stress you no longer feel overwhelming. You feel more centered, more grounded, and more peaceful. Your emotional resilience strengthens, and you handle situations with more grace. This peace is a blessing because it prepares your heart for bigger doors that will require a steady spirit. Divine connections are also an early indicator. You may meet someone whose presence feels purposeful, a mentor, a collaborator, or a person who offers wisdom you didn't know you needed. These new connections align with your future, not your past. And one of the greatest early blessings is momentum. Even if the movement is small, you feel progress. A conversation leads somewhere, an idea unfolds smoothly, a path that was blocked opens unexpectedly. These tiny breakthroughs are the first waves of the larger shift ahead. Early blessings aren't just gifts, they are signals. They're God's way of saying, the delay is over, keep moving. When your delay season breaks, one of the most refreshing shifts you experience is a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. It feels like your mind finally wakes up after a long fog. You begin understanding yourself, your calling, and your direction in a way that wasn't possible during the slower season. This clarity is not just mental, it's spiritual. It's the feeling of being guided instead of guessing. One of the first things you notice is that your priorities change. What once felt important no longer matters as much, and the things you used to ignore suddenly feel meaningful. You become more aware of what aligns with your future and what pulls you away from it. This shift isn't forced, it happens naturally because your spirit is stepping into alignment with God's plan for your next chapter. You may also find yourself becoming more decisive. During your delay, decisions may have felt heavy or confusing because the timing wasn't right. But once the delay breaks, choices become clearer. You know what feels right, what feels wrong, and what deserves your energy. Instead of moving with uncertainty, you move with intention. Another part of renewed clarity is recognizing your purpose with more confidence. You begin understanding why certain experiences happened, why certain people left, and why certain situations didn't work out. Everything that once felt random starts to make sense. You begin seeing the bigger picture that God was forming behind the scenes while you were waiting. You also become more inspired to take action. Ideas stir inside you. Creativity flows more freely. You feel drawn towards certain paths, opportunities, or responsibilities. This inspiration is a sign that your purpose is waking up and calling you forward. Your spirit is signaling that now is the time to move not out of pressure, but out of readiness. Most importantly, renewed clarity gives you a deeper sense of meaning. You feel connected to something greater than yourself. You understand that your life isn't just a series of events, it's a carefully guided journey. You start walking with purpose instead of wandering with confusion. This clarity was the gift hidden inside your delay. And now that you have it, you're stepping into your next season with vision, direction, and confidence. One of the clearest signs that your season of delay has ended is the sudden ease that begins to show up in places where you used to struggle. This ease isn't laziness or luck, it's a spiritual shift. It's what happens when God removes the resistance that once kept you stuck and replaces it with divine flow. Things that felt heavy start becoming manageable. Things that required force start unfolding naturally. During your delayed season, you may have felt like every step forward required a battle. You tried, pushed, planned, prayed, yet nothing seemed to move. But when the delay breaks, that tension dissolves. Instead of hitting walls, you start noticing open pathways. Instead of chasing opportunities, opportunities begin coming to you. This ease is a confirmation that the spiritual atmosphere around you has changed. You'll also notice ease in your emotional life. Situations that once drained you no longer feel overwhelming. Conversations that used to trigger you now roll off your shoulders. You respond with more patience, clarity, and calmness. This emotional ease shows that you're operating from a healed place rather than a pressured one. Your spirit is no longer fighting old battles, it's flowing with new strength. Another sign of ease is how your relationships shift. Healthy people feel easier to connect with. Support becomes more natural. Misalignments fade without chaos. God removes the friction that once made you question your worth or doubt your path. What remains in your life feels balanced, steady, and nourishing. Even your decisions feel easier. You don't wrestle with confusion the way you once did. Your intuition speaks more clearly, and your choices feel guided rather than forced. You no longer feel torn between fear and faith. Faith becomes your natural response. And perhaps the most beautiful part, your progress comes without exhaustion. You're still working, still growing, still showing up, but it doesn't drain your soul anymore. You move with grace, not pressure, with flow, not force. This ease is proof that God has lifted the weight off your journey. Where you once struggled, you will now see movement. Where you once fought, you will now see favor. When a breakthrough finally arrives, one of the biggest questions people ask is, why did God wait so long? But when you look closely, the timing always makes sense. God didn't delay your blessing to frustrate you, He delayed it to perfect you. He waited until now because this version of you is finally strong enough, wise enough, and spiritually mature enough to carry what He's about to release. One of the main reasons God waited is your readiness. There are seasons where you want the blessing, but aren't prepared for the responsibility that comes with it. You needed time to heal, learn, grow, and let certain parts of you mature. If God had given you the opportunity earlier, you might have doubted yourself, sabotaged it, or attached the blessing to people who weren't meant to share it with you. God also waited because the environment around you wasn't ready. Some blessings require the right people, the right timing, and the right circumstances all working together. Maybe someone you needed to meet wasn't in position yet. Maybe the opportunity you were praying for wasn't developed enough. Maybe the door you wanted didn't even exist at that time. God needed everything around you to align before releasing you forward. Another reason God waited is protection. There were seasons where the opposition against you was too intense. You were spiritually vulnerable, emotionally drained, or surrounded by people who didn't have your best interests at heart. If God had opened the door then, it might have harmed you. Waiting was His way of shielding you from unseen danger. And one more powerful truth. God waited because the blessing was designed for this season, not the old one. You're not stepping into a recycled opportunity. You're stepping into something fresh, something aligned, something meant for the upgraded version of you. God needed you to walk through experiences that shaped your character, sharpened your discernment, and strengthened your identity. Now that you've grown into the person who can handle the blessing, God is releasing it without hesitation. The delay was God ignoring you. It was God preparing you. And now He's saying, you're ready. When your delay season breaks, one of the most exciting shifts you'll notice is the appearance or reappearance of destiny connections. These are people who are divinely placed in your life to help you grow, guide you, support you, or walk with you in your next chapter. They don't come through pressure or chasing. They come through alignment. One of the first signs is that certain individuals begin showing up at the perfect time. You may reconnect with someone you drifted away from, but now the timing feels different, healthier, more balanced, and more meaningful. These reconnections aren't accidental. During your delay, both of you were being prepared separately so the connection could function properly when the season was right. You'll also meet new people who feel strangely familiar, even though you've just met. There's an ease in conversation, a natural flow, and a sense of trust you usually don't give quickly. Destiny connections often feel like this, peaceful, not forced. They bring clarity instead of confusion and encouragement instead of doubt. Another sign of destiny connections is purpose alignment. These people match the direction you're moving toward, not the place you're leaving behind. They share similar values, dreams, or motivations. They don't drain you, they inspire you. Conversations with them open your mind, calm your spirit, and remind you of what you're capable of. Some destiny connections arrive as mentors or guides. They offer wisdom you didn't even know you needed, and their presence accelerates your growth. Others come as collaborators, people who carry skills or insight that complement your gifts. These connections help you step into new doors with confidence. Sometimes destiny connections come through unexpected channels, a random message, an invitation, a brief conversation that leads to something bigger. When God orchestrates connections, He doesn't need complicated setups. He just needs your season to be aligned. These people show up because you're stepping into a place where support, alignment, and community matter. Your next level was never meant to be walked alone, and now the right people are being positioned around you. When your delay season ends, your intuition doesn't just improve, it transforms. You begin sensing things with a level of clarity you didn't have before. This shift isn't accidental, it's the result of everything God sharpened in you during your quiet season. Your spirit becomes more alert, your mind becomes clearer, and your heart becomes more aligned with truth. One of the first changes you'll notice is how quickly you pick up on dishonesty, manipulation, or hidden motives. Even when someone's words sound right, something inside you feels wrong. You don't need long explanations or repeated signs, your spirit catches it immediately. This is discernment, and it's one of the strongest gifts God strengthens when preparing you for a new season. It protects you from entering relationships or opportunities that would slow you down. You also become more sensitive to alignment. When something is right for you, you feel a quiet pull toward it, a sense of peace, flow, and clarity. When something isn't right, you feel tension, confusion, or resistance. Before, you might have ignored these feelings or talked yourself out of them. But now, you trust them. Your intuition is no longer a whisper you overlook. It's a voice you respect. Another sign of this shift is that you seek guidance differently. Instead of reacting based on emotion, you pause and listen. You want direction that aligns with your purpose, not your impatience. This level of self-awareness is a mark of spiritual maturity. You're no longer driven by fear or pressure. You move with intention. You may also notice that certain decisions become easier. What once required endless thinking now feels obvious. You can sense what drains your energy and what strengthens it. You recognize who brings peace and who brings chaos. Your ability to read situations becomes sharper because your spirit is synced with God's timing. Most importantly, discernment helps you avoid what looks tempting but isn't aligned. Not every opportunity is a blessing. Not every connection is meant for your journey. Your upgraded intuition helps you choose wisely so you don't fall back into old cycles or unnecessary detours. This shift is one of the greatest gifts of your new season. Your intuition isn't just stronger, it's now a guiding force that keeps your path clear and your spirit protected. When a chosen one steps out of a delay and into a season of movement, the enemy reacts immediately, not because you're weak, but because you're finally stepping into the influence, clarity, and purpose he tried to prevent. The shift happening around you doesn't go unnoticed in the spiritual realm. As your path opens, resistance tries to rise one last time. One of the first reactions you'll notice is sudden negativity from unexpected places. People who were silent may start acting distant or irritated without reason. Others may show jealousy or make subtle comments meant to discourage you. This isn't personal, it's spiritual. The enemy uses people who are emotionally unguarded or spiritually unaware to send distractions your way. Their reactions are signs that your elevation is already visible, even before you see it fully. You may also experience random moments of doubt or fear that seem to come out of nowhere. Thoughts like, what if this doesn't work out? Or maybe I'm not ready may try to echo in your mind. These thoughts don't come from your spirit, they're attempts to slow your momentum before it fully settles. The enemy knows that if he can shake your confidence early, he can stop your progress later. Another reaction is sudden inconvenience or small disruptions, plans falling through, unexpected delays, or minor setbacks. These aren't signs that you're off track, they're signs that the enemy is panicking. He can sense that your atmosphere has shifted, and he's throwing distractions your way to drain your focus. But these disruptions lose their power when you recognize them for what they are. Sometimes the enemy tries to pull old temptations, old habits, or old relationships back into your life. This is a strategic move to bring you back into cycles you've already outgrown. The goal is to attach your new season to old patterns so you can't fully step into your blessing. But your discernment is stronger now, and that's why these attempts feel obvious instead of confusing. The most important thing to understand is this: opposition increases when elevation begins. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't rising. Your delay breaking means you're stepping into territory he hoped you'd never reach. But now you have strength, clarity, and authority, and his reactions only confirm the breakthrough God already released over your life. When God moves you into a season of acceleration, your mindset becomes just as important as your actions. A new season can't be carried with an old way of thinking. To maintain the momentum God has released, you must shift into a mindset that supports progress, confidence, and clarity, not fear, hesitation, or doubt. One of the first mindset shifts is learning to expect forward movement instead of preparing for disappointment. Delay can condition you to assume things will take long or fall apart, but acceleration requires you to believe in immediate progress. It means trusting that opportunities can come suddenly, blessings can unfold quickly, and God can shift your situation in ways that don't match your past experiences. A mindset of expectancy opens your spirit to receive what God is sending. Another essential mindset is valuing timing over pressure. In a fast-moving season, you must learn to discern which steps are urgent and which are guided. Not everything requires rushing. Acceleration isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things with focus. You must trust that the same God who opened the door will also guide the pace. You also need a mindset that chooses confidence over doubt. In acceleration, new responsibilities or opportunities may feel bigger than anything you've handled before. But instead of shrinking, you must remind yourself, God wouldn't bring me here if I wasn't ready. Confidence isn't pretending you know everything, it's trusting that God equips you as you move. Another shift is learning to release control. Acceleration requires flexibility. Plans may change quickly, unexpected opportunities may appear, and new directions may unfold without warning. A rigid mindset will make acceleration feel stressful. A trusting mindset will make it feel exciting. You must allow God to redirect you without fear. Finally, the mindset needed for acceleration includes protecting your mental space. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, emotions, or plans. You need to think like someone who is going somewhere, focused, grounded, and selective. This means avoiding unnecessary arguments, ignoring negativity, and staying centered on what matters. Acceleration requires a mindset that believes in movement, respects timing, and trusts God fully. With this mindset, you won't just enter your next season, you'll thrive in it. Stepping into a new season requires more than just faith. It requires letting go of behaviors that quietly sabotage your growth. When God breaks the delay off your life, some patterns can no longer follow you forward. These behaviors were manageable in your old season, but they will block momentum in your new one. One of the first behaviors you must release is over-explaining yourself. In your past, you may have felt the need to justify your decisions, your boundaries, or your growth. But in this new season, You cannot waste emotional energy convincing people who are not assigned to your journey. Your clarity is enough. Your peace is enough. You don't need approval to follow God's direction. Another behavior to drop is overthinking every step. Delay conditions your mind to question everything because you're used to doors moving slowly or not at all. But now that God is accelerating your path, overthinking will only slow you down. You must learn to trust your intuition, trust your progress, and trust that you're being guided. Not every decision needs to be dissected, some just need to be made. You must also release people-pleasing. In your old season, you may have stayed in places too long or tolerated behaviors that drained you because you didn't want to upset anyone. But elevation requires honesty. It requires boundaries. It requires choosing environments that support your growth instead of ones that guilt you into staying small. Pleasing others cannot come before protecting your peace. Another behavior to drop is settling for less in relationships, opportunities, or expectations. You're entering a season where God is trying to raise your standards. Settling will only pull you backward. If something doesn't align with your worth, it doesn't belong in your next chapter. You also need to let go of talking yourself out of blessings. When new opportunities show up, don't sabotage them out of fear that you're not ready. You prayed for these openings. You grew for them. You waited for them. It's time to receive without shrinking. And finally, drop the behavior of holding onto what God already moved you away from. Whether it's a person, mindset, or environment, clinging to the old will slow down your new season. Trust the separation, trust the shift, trust the timing. These behaviors were acceptable when you were surviving delay. But they have no place now that you're stepping into acceleration. Now that your season of delay has broken, God doesn't just want to move you forward. He wants you to stay aligned, grounded, and prepared for the blessings ahead. That means developing habits that support consistency, clarity, and spiritual strength. These habits aren't about perfection, they're about forming a lifestyle that matches the level you're stepping into. One of the most important habits to build is daily stillness. Whether it's prayer, reflection, or quiet time, creating space for God to guide you keeps your spirit aligned. In a season of acceleration, clarity becomes your compass, and you can't hear divine direction in constant noise. A few minutes of intentional stillness each day strengthens your intuition and keeps your decisions rooted in wisdom instead of impulse. Another crucial habit is intentional action. In your delayed season, you may have gotten used to waiting, but now opportunities will show up more often and acting on them matters. This doesn't mean rushing, it means moving with purpose. Take small steps consistently, follow through on ideas, say yes when your spirit feels aligned. Acceleration requires participation. You also need the habit of protecting your energy. As you rise, not everyone around you will handle your growth well. Some people will drain you, distract you, or pull at your peace. Build the habit of checking in with your emotional state and removing yourself from anything that feels heavy, chaotic, or spiritually unsettling. Guarding your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. Another vital habit is continuous learning. Your next season may require new skills, new mindsets, or new knowledge. Read more, listen more, pay attention to mentors, experiences, and lessons around you. Growth will feel smoother when you actively invest in yourself. Build the habit of consistent gratitude as well. Gratitude opens doors, maintains peace, and reminds you of God's presence in every season. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's unfolding. Even in small ways, gratitude keeps your heart aligned with abundance rather than fear. Finally, develop the habit of following your intuition quickly. Your discernment is stronger now, and the quicker you respond to its guidance, the fewer detours you'll face. Trust the nudges, the gut feelings, and the inner signals. They are tools God sharpened specifically for this season. These habits become the structure that supports your elevation. They don't just prepare you for blessings, they help you keep them. When a season of delay breaks, God doesn't just release small signs, He aligns you for a major breakthrough that shifts the entire direction of your life. This breakthrough isn't random, and it's not the result of luck. It's the outcome of everything you endured, everything you learned, and everything God prepared behind the scenes while your path seemed quiet. One of the biggest breakthroughs that often follows the end of a delay is a long-awaited opportunity finally opening up. This could be a job offer, a new financial path, a relationship shift, a creative door, or a long-term goal that suddenly becomes reachable. What once felt distant starts moving toward you with surprising speed. This breakthrough is designed to advance your life in a way that would have been impossible in your previous season. Another form of breakthrough is stability. After months or years of feeling uncertain, you begin experiencing a sense of grounding. Your finances settle, your emotions stabilize, your decisions feel clearer. You're no longer fighting to survive, you're building. This shift into stability is a breakthrough because it allows you to focus on growth instead of survival. You may also experience a breakthrough in self-worth. You finally recognize your value, your gifts, and your strength. You stop shrinking, stop apologizing, and stop settling. This inner breakthrough changes how you speak, how you move, and the kinds of people you allow into your life. It unlocks confidence that leads to external blessings. Another breakthrough may come through divine alignment, the right people, resources, and environments coming into your life at the perfect time. Collaborations form effortlessly. Someone notices your work. A mentor reaches out. A connection leads to an unexpected opportunity. These alignments are not coincidences. They are part of the breakthrough God prepared for you. You may also see a breakthrough in purpose, clarity about what you're meant to do and where you're meant to go. Your gifts activate, your voice strengthens, your direction becomes obvious. Instead of wandering, you move with intention. And perhaps the most powerful breakthrough is momentum. Things begin happening back to back. Blessings line up. Doors open faster. You see progress on every side. This momentum is God's confirmation that the delay didn't break you, it positioned you. This big breakthrough is not coming. It has already started. And everything you faced in your waiting season was preparation for the upgrade that's stepping into your life next. Now that the delay has broken, the most important step is learning how to walk into your new season with confidence instead of fear. This is not the time to shrink, hesitate, or second-guess yourself. This is the moment to step forward with the strength God built in you during the quiet years. Walking boldly means trusting the shift, even if you can't see every detail yet. Your spirit already knows this season is different. You feel lighter, clearer, and more prepared. Trust that feeling. Boldness doesn't mean having all the answers, it means moving even when you don't. You're being guided, and every step you take opens another door. It also means letting go of the version of yourself that lived in delay. That version was unsure, cautious, and often held back by fear. But the person you are now is wiser, stronger, and more mature. Don't carry old insecurities into a season that requires your full confidence. You've earned this level, walk like it. Walking boldly also requires protecting your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your next chapter. Not every conversation needs your energy. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Respect the growth God gave you by guarding your spirit. What you allow in this season will shape where you end up next. Another part of boldness is taking aligned action. When opportunities show up, respond. When God nudges you, move. When your intuition says, go, don't wait for permission. Boldness creates momentum. Hesitation delays blessings. You can't step into acceleration with the mindset of someone who lived in survival. Most importantly, walking boldly means remembering this truth. You are not entering this season alone. God is walking with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and clearing obstacles before you reach them. You're stepping into a chapter that was written for you long before you doubted yourself. Your delay is over. Your preparation is complete. Your path is open. Walk into your next season with your head high, your spirit steady, and your faith unshakable, because everything ahead was designed with your name on it. Chosen one, if this message spoke to your spirit today, let it remind you of one truth. Your season of delay has truly broken, and nothing can hold you back anymore. You've grown, you've healed, and you've risen into the version of yourself that is finally ready for the blessings God prepared long before you ever saw the path. Here at Wisdom Echo, we share messages to strengthen your journey, uplift your spirit, and remind you that every pause, every setback, and every quiet moment was shaping you for this exact season. Your life is shifting. Your atmosphere is lighter. And the doors opening next are aligned with the person you've become, not the one you left behind. As you step forward, do it with confidence. Trust the timing, trust the growth, and trust the God who carried you through every silent chapter. You're not walking into your new season timidly, you're walking into it prepared, qualified, and guided. Before you go, if this message blessed you, please like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Echo so you never miss the guidance meant for you. And let's fill the comments with today's affirmation. My delay is broken, my breakthrough is here. Type it below to claim it in your spirit. Your next chapter starts now.